Hi, I'm Kathy Johnson from Pyramid of Potential. This is video 53 of 60 in the Harnessing Learning Potential video series. Today we're talking about dysgraphia. First of all, let me define it. It's a developmental or neurological disability affecting one's ability to write. We see fine motor muscle control issues, motor processing difficulties, and even difficulty with causing fatigue while writing. Every few sentences or paragraphs, you've got to rest your hand. Here are the characteristics of dysgraphia, and with each characteristic I'm going to talk about the very specific cause of that particular characteristic. We start off with problems involving the steps of putting together a written document. Anytime you're talking about step-by-step procedures, we're talking about sequencing, okay? So sequencing is set up during the primitive reflex stage called tonic labyrinthine reflex. So many times I've had people say just go and you work on that particular reflex and things with sequencing just boom, get fixed, okay? It takes a couple weeks. You can find that on the Maintaining Brains Everyday DVD. Next is a bad or illegible handwriting. So this is I spoke about handwriting in the last video. There's lots to it, including primitive reflexes and vision, and then retraining. Next is an awkward or cramped pencil grip. So what we're looking for is a very nice tripod grip, okay? That's loose and flexible. But if somebody instead is holding their pen like this, okay, or this, okay, or up and down like this, or in a claw, or kind of awkward with our fingers like that, okay, what we're looking at is a retained palmar reflex. And so that's also a primitive reflex that needs to be integrated. Next is avoiding tasks that involve writing. Well, if it's uncomfortable, if they're not good at it, that's why they're going to avoid it. So we've got to improve the ability to write, whether it's handwriting or getting our thoughts on paper, which, by the way, is the next thing about getting their thoughts on paper. The next characteristic is difficulty fleshing out ideas on paper. Okay? They may write the minimum or less than the assignment requires. That is in contrast to their ability to discuss ideas verbally. So let me discuss this one with you for a minute. In the left hemisphere of our brain is where language is typically processed. The right hemisphere of our brain is typically where we process creatively, okay? So most of the writing that we have to do in schools is creative writing. The rest that's not creative writing is spelling and dictation, and that's it. So even if the teacher says, write down what you had for breakfast, and you write, I ate eggs. Well, okay, that's great for that is creative writing. It may be small, but it's a sentence that never existed before. So how come this is happening? Well, early in development, our brain starts developing the part of the brain that is the communicator and connector between the two hemispheres of the brain, and that is the corpus callosum. Okay, so if they haven't created this well yet, if it's not well developed because of starting off in infancy and not going through all their stages and then not building on it through years and years of schooling and that type of thing, then we need to develop that. We absolutely need to for so many things, not just writing. So the stage of development that is important for that is the primitive reflex, asymmetrical tonic neck reflex, or ATNR. So that's really important to integrate that. Next we have the inconsistent way letters and words look. So they may print a certain letter different ways within the same document. Why would they do that? Well, because it's not solid in their brain. Okay, so they may have an issue with vision. Okay, if they've got something like double vision, which by the way, about 10% of my clients, who they're all learning disabled, have had double vision, then they're going to have troubles with writing, seeing where the letters are on the page, where's the blue line that they're supposed to be staying on, things like that. So vision has an awful lot to do with handwriting, and therefore they may have very inconsistent writing in the same document. Then we see difficulty writing within the margins or line spacing and inconsistent spacing between words. Oh, you've seen probably the kids who go right, and we see no spaces between the words, it's just letters. Those people probably don't understand spacing yet. It's actually a developmental step. And that happens during the step of tonic labyrinthine reflex, so another primitive reflex, also called TLR. So during this stage of development, the brain is being set up for spatial awareness, whether it's spacing between words, whether it's spacing on a poster. These type of kids, typically all the information will be in a corner because they can't really understand spacing out on that poster. They're also the type of people who have problems with where their body is in space, and they might inadvertently bump into other kids or bump into furniture, all having to do with that tonic labyrinthine reflex. So, in order to deal with dysgraphia, which is a developmental issue, we've got to go back, recreate that first year of life. The best way to do that is, actually, in my opinion, is through integration of those reflex exercises using the Maintaining Brains Everyday DVD or download. It's inexpensive. You should probably be able to see changes start happening within the first 3 weeks. And you continue to do that as long as needed until that first year of life has been recreated and we can stop. So that's it about dysgraphia. We'll be talking about some other issues in the next few videos.